Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the how to make a split screen game in the Blender game engine. Today we're going to be getting these characters to shoot and also getting sort of hurt, so having like blood pop up on the sides of the screen. Last time we went and, in part 2, we went and got 2 different characters and the split screen script working and them both running around with animations and stuff. But there was one problem with that, and that was that we haven't like completely finished making the character, so we still need shooting animations, we still need a couple other bits and pieces, and they'll be really tedious copying it from one player and then doing exactly the same on the other one. So we're going to delete the player we made last time and delete all the delete everything except the camera. So select the camera and then Alt P and then clear and keep transformation and then delete everything else. That will mean that it won't muck around with the script, but we can work on this player and then just duplicate him across afterwards. So the first thing we'll need to do is add a muzzle flare. So press Shift A and add a plane and move it around RX90 and just move it towards the gun like so. You can press numpad 1 to go into front view, move it over the gun, and 3, and you want it fairly close. I've got a whole separate tutorial on how to make really nice sort of muzzle flares, especially for like fully automatic weapons if you preferred that. So check out the tutorial if you want to, but we're going to be using the same technique here. So we're then going to go give it a material, and no specularity, no back facing, and transparency to nothing. Then we're going to go ahead and add a new texture, image movie, UV, and check alpha down here, and then open up the image that will be in the description. So in the previous tutorial I made the muzzle flash here. If you guys want to use the same one, feel free. It will be in the description, a link for it. Otherwise you can make your own if you want to. We're going to add that in, then we're going to press tab and then U unwrap, and we can go over here into UV image editor and go muzzle flash or flare, and then press SX and just square it out like that. Then I'm going to give it an alpha of 2 and select shadeless so it's nice and bright. Then we're going to press tab, go out of edit mode, and hold down shift and select the bottom cube, then press Ctrl P and parent to object. Or you can parent it to the camera if you want, but I'm just going to parent it to the cube. So go ahead and call it muzzle flare, or flash, or whatever. And then we can make this a bit smaller, make the bottom a bit bigger, and we're going to add a mouse sensor with tap. Oh wait, we can't have a mouse, we have to have a keyboard. And this is going to be the shooting key for one player, so with the multiplayer game you're going to have to, because it's on a computer, you're going to have 4 keys for movement, and a key for shooting, and a key for aiming, and then the same for the other player. So I just have the WASD sort of layout for this one, and it'll be arrow keys for the other one, and you just need a shooting key as well. So I'm just going to use spacebar because that's, I guess, sort of close to WASD for this character anyway. So spacebar, tap, and it's going to add, not edit object, it's going to change the visibility to visible, and if it's not pressed, so then after you got the visibility sensor on, add a NAND controller and join that up to a visibility sensor as well, but this time turn it off. And what that does is, if the spacebar is tapped, and then it'll make it visible. If it's not being tapped though, then it'll be invisible. So we'll get that, scroll over to the, make it a bit bigger, go to the physics tab, select no collision and invisible, and then press 0 and P, and if we press spacebar, we have a sort of muzzle flash popping up, which is cool. Now we need to, I want to add some variation. So like in the muzzle flare tutorial, I made it sort of spin around and scale and stuff to give a variation. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to frame 0 here, press I, insert rotation, and then I, insert scaling. Then go to frame, we don't need much, so maybe only frame 10, and then we'll scroll in down here, go to frame 10, then RY, and just rotate it heaps to give a random effect, and then press I, insert rotation, and then make it big, and I, insert scaling, and then go to frame 5 and make it small, and press I, insert scaling. So if you drag your cursor across, you have a sort of random looking effect, which is pretty cool. What we need to do down here in the logic bricks though is add an always sensor and a action and join them up, and set that on true, and then select muzzle flare action, and it starts at frame 0 and finishes at frame 10. So type in 10, and then we can test it out. Scroll in, and when we press spacebar, we have a random looking muzzle flash, which is cool. In the demo I didn't really have any random, it was just the same all the time, but I don't know, an extra little feature that can make it look a bit nicer. Now we need to add a muzzle, well not a muzzle, a bullet spawner. So you can press Shift S, cursor to selected, then Shift A and add a cube, press S to scale it, and GY, and then S again and GY, and then select no collision and invisible, then give it a, nope, we can make that actually parent it to the bottom cube, so hold down Shift, click the bottom, Control P, parent to object, and then select, or the camera if you did the same with the muzzle flash. Then go to layer 2 down here and press Shift S, cursor to the center, then Shift A and add a cylinder, then press T to open up the toolbar here and change the vertices to 16. Make sure you don't click or anything, otherwise that will disappear if you select anything else, so you have to do it straight after you've added it in. Then we can press T to make the toolbar go away, and we can call this bullet and give it a property called bullet, then just leave it like that. Then give it a material, no specularity, shadeless, and make it a yellowish color, like that. Then you can, it doesn't matter, you can turn off back facing if you want to. Then you can press RX90, then press tab to go into edit mode, and face select mode, and then click the face here, then press E, then click and Alt M at center, so you'll extrude it out, and then Alt M is merge, and it will merge them at the center. Then we can press tab again and press Z to go into wireframe and select all of this, then press S, make it small, and then GY, and going to make it more bullet shaped. Then press T and origin to geometry, and we can actually move it a bit more, but then we'll have to do origin to geometry again. So when you're happy with that, we can click smooth as well, and then add an always sensor down here, add a motion, and then go to local, and that will get the positive Z to be forwards, so maybe 0.4, and we'll have to try that out. Then go back to layer 1, select the cube here, call it bullet spawner, hold down shift and select the muzzle flare, and then add an AND controller and join the keyboard one to this one, and then add an edit object and add bullet with a finishing time of maybe 120. It doesn't need to be that long because it's going so fast. So that should be good. Now we can go into texture mode and try it out. And it's working, but it's shooting upwards. So select the cube and press RX90, and then try it out again. And the bullets are, well, it's working, but the bullets are like way too big and way too slow. So we'll go into layer 2, select the bullet, press tab, and then A to deselect, A to select, and we'll select everything, and then press S, and make it nice and small, and press tab to go out of edit mode, and then go into the physics, select dynamic, and scroll down and give it collision bounds, but choose cylinder. You can give it margin if you want, but I'm just going to leave it. You can go origin to geometry again, and turn up the motion, so maybe to 1, see how that goes. I'll press P, and yeah, but the bullet drop is pretty crazy. So what we can actually do is go in the linear velocity here and try something like 50, change that to 0, and then press P and press spacebar, and I don't know, that just seems to go a lot better. Maybe we can add a bit on the Z as well. I think that's working well. So 0.5 and 50, and both on local, with local selected, and then after you've done that, yeah, we've got the shooting sorted out. So now we need the player to have a collision box. So if you don't know what that is pretty much a box that senses whether the player's been hit or not. So we're going to press Shift A, and we're going to add a cube. Then we're going to press GZ and move it upwards. You can just drag it. And we're going to pretty much want to cover most of our player with this. So we can press S, and you don't want to make it too big, but yeah, like that. Pretty much whenever the bullet hits this box, it will hurt the player. So we're going to just keep the collision box above the feet. So above the moving cube, and where all the sort of essential organs are. And then we're going to press Z to go into wireframe, press 3 to go into side view, and then press SZ and scale it on the Z axis, and then move it up and down, and then we can press 7 and sort of move it like that, and that should be okay. So you can leave a little bit of a gap around the player. Then select actor and collision bounds. Oh, select ghost as well. And then we can add a margin if you want. don't make it too big, because that's how much extra it can go out, or before it counts it as a collision. Then we're going to select invisible as well, and we're going to call it, actually no, we're going to select sensor, detect actors, and then collision bound box, and a bit of margin. And then we can go ahead and call it, player sensor, and then add a collision at the property bullet, which we gave the bullet before, I think. Yep. And then we can go ahead and choose an AND controller, and now we need for the blood to pop up on the sides of the screen. So probably next tutorial we'll get into making health bars and stuff, but just for this tutorial we're just going to have blood popping up on the screen, no matter how low your health is. So we'll add a plane and call it blood, and then press SX and make it sort of same size as the camera, then press RX90 and change it to global, and then we'll need a texture for it, so go ahead and open up GIMP, and that will have that'll have all the stuff you need, and then go File, New, and OK, then go Colors, Color to Alpha, and click OK. That'll get rid of the background. Then we can select Airbrush and a dark red color, so maybe something like that. Then select go down here and splatter, I think, yep, and make it bigger, and just dot around the edges. If you really wanted to, later when there's health bars and stuff, when it gets more advanced, you can possibly add multiple sort of textures like this, where you have, when the players say on like 10 health, then you'll have like lots and lots of blood on the screen, but if they're like on 50 health or whatever, then you'll only add a little bit. But yeah, we can muck around with that later. Just add a few splats, like that. And I'm just going to get a smudge tool and make it small, and just smudge it out like that, and that should be fine. Then I'm going to go File and Export and call it blood, and then go into my folder, which is called Split Screen Game, and save it in there, make that, and then export it out, and then just minimize GIMP just in case you might want to make changes again later. Then give the plane a material, no specularity, no back facing, no transparency, and then new texture, image of movie, UV, and open up the, we can go to our split screen folder and open up blood, or the one we made, and then we can select alpha down here, and then press tab, U, unwrap, and we can press 1, and then press U and project from view bounds, so that will put the whole texture on for us. And that looks pretty cool. Now we can press 0 and press P, and it's, well, first of all, it's not parented, so we'll select it, hold down shift and parent it to the bottom cube by pressing Ctrl P. And then we're going to have to actually go into the materials tab and select back facing, because we don't want the other player to see the blood on the person's screen, because that'll just be weird. And then we can also press SX, and that will sort of widen it out. It'll look strange, but it fits the it will fit the spin that around just so it works. We probably got the wrong side. Yeah, but it fits with the camera like that. See, even that isn't big enough. So you may need to, I don't know, redo it with a wider template. Probably looks better, but we need to press S. Actually, no, we can just press GY. Make it closer to the camera, press P. And we're nearly there. GY a bit more. 0. Numpad 0, and then P. And we're pretty close now. So now it's just sideways, press SX, and press 0, and then P, and there we go. So that's the whole screen in blood, which is cool. Go in the physics tab, no collision and invisible, then under with it selected, add 2 visibility, just like the muzzle flare, 1 visible, 1 not visible, and add an AND controller. Hold down shift and select the player box, so player sensors. So the one with the collision property, you can get rid of that AND sensor and then join out the blood visible, and then add a NAND controller, join that up to the collision and to the not visible. Then minimize all that, and that should be pretty sweet. Now we need to duplicate this all for the second player after we've done the the shooting animation. So we still haven't done that. So select the rig. You can press Z to go into wireframe if you want, and select it. And then we're going to have to, well, it's got walking animations here already, but we need a shooting animation. So go to frame 45, you can just type it in if you want, or you can use the arrows, and then go into pose mode, select this, and then press I, insert location rotation, then go to frame 50, and then press R, X, like that, so a bit of recoil, maybe like that, and then GY, so it gets fired back a bit, and then press I, insert location rotation, so it goes backwards like that. Then go to graph editor, frame 45, and then A to deselect, Control K to select the one keyframe on that, on frame 45, and then press Shift D, GX 10, and that should make another one on frame 55. So the whole animation takes 10 frames, which might be a bit long, but we'll just have to see. Then add a, go back to object mode, add an action here, and join that up to the shooting action. So hold down shift and select the muzzle flare, and then join it up to the keyboard, so the visibility one. So we can join that up to this one here. So we'll just make this bigger, join that top one up to the bottom one, so when the keyboard is pressed it will make the muzzle flare visible, and it will also spawn the bullet, and it will play the animation of the player shooting. So that starts at frame 45, ends at frame 55, and then we'll select gun. We'll have to press tab and select a piece of the gun, press Ctrl L and then P and separate it, because the gun didn't move with that animation at all, so we'll just animate it separately. hold down shift and select the walking cube, and then press Control P and parent the gun to the cube. That went funny, so we can press Control Z and press Control P and keep transformation. Then we can press Control A, apply scale, just in case, and then we can animate the gun as well. So go to frame 45 with the player animation started, and we can call this gun. Then press I, insert location rotation, after it's parented to the cube. Also go, actually no, we can remove that by clicking remove keyframes. We need to do origin to geometry because that was way off. Now we can go to frame 45 and then press I, insert rotation location, then go to frame 50 and press 3 and then press G and move it, and then click and then press R and rotate it. So it's like that, and then press I, insert location rotation, and then we can just go to frame 45, press A to deselect in the graph editor, Control K to select all the keyframes on that frame, and then Shift D, G, X, 10, and that will move the gun as well. Now we just need the animation for it, so add an action, gun action, or gun over one. I'm not sure why there's two. So start frame 45 and end frame 55, and then hold down shift and select the muzzle flare and join that up with the same keyboard thing. So that should work now. So if we go into texture view, press 0 and then press P and then press spacebar. Now the head moves as well as the shooting and muzzle flare, and which is pretty cool. Now we just need the same for the other character, so we're going to select the bottom cube, hold down shift, select the collision thing, pretty much select everything except for the camera. I'll just keep clicking. There we go, that's everything except for this camera. And then we can press on to go into front view, and then press Shift D, G, X, and make a copy and get the other camera right in the middle of the head like that. So you want to get it in the middle like that, like this one. Then select this camera and then hold down shift and select the running cube at the bottom, and then Control P and parent to object, keep transformation. So now if we go into texture view, press 0 and press P, then they both shoot, but they both move at the same time as well, so we need different controls. So select the moving cube at the bottom for player number 2. We can call that player movement 2, and then change that to up arrow and down arrow, left arrow and right arrow. Oh, that should work better. We also need the instead of spacebar, I'm going to choose left control. Right control. For shooting, so they all both have different shooting triggers, and we can press P and they both fire depending on which button you press. They also look in different directions, but there is one problem, and that's they look exactly the same. So we need to select this player's the body part of them, then go to the material tab, and where it says close, click there, the number 4 or whatever number it is, just click there, and call it close player 2. Then go into the texture tab, click that number 2 there, and then open up the second sort of texture you got. So I got camouflage for my other character, so we'll open that up, and then if we go to texture view now, and we select the collision boxes and press H, then we have the, have them looking differently. So we can press Alt H, and then press 0 and P, and now we'll see if the, shooting works, and it does. If you look at the, if I run over here and turn around and shoot at the other player, then he has blood popping up on the screen. I think the same goes for the other character, and there we go, it does work. So this is probably, I don't know if you noticed, but if one player sort of steps behind the other, shoots him in the back, then you have this huge red screen thing, and it looks sort of ugly. So we'll probably next tutorial we'll make a new layer or new scene, and have like an overlay scene with a health bar and with this, so that can pop up in the overlay instead of in the actual screen, so it won't ruin anything. That's the end of the tutorial for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do play the game, make sure it's on frame 0 to stop any bug or animation bugs and stuff happening. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found something useful from it. I'll see you guys in part 4.